If you're over 50 and your sights have turned into a fuzzy blob, this class is for you. We're going to go against the grain a little bit here, and I am not going to tell you to just focus harder on the front sight. The problem is your eyes have changed, and nobody has updated your training until now. If you have vision problems while you shoot, you'll definitely want to stick around for this video. In this masterclass, I'm going to show you exactly what to do when you can't see your sights anymore. First, we're going to fix your sight picture. Then we're going to walk you through some simple drills you can run at home. And then we're going to sort out red dots and astigmatism so you can stop wasting money on the wrong gear. Now, I pulled this together from 3 of my most important videos on aging eyes and shooting, cleaned them up a little bit, and turned them into one full-length training. Stick with me to the end. You can download a free PDF with all the drills and a simple checklist so you can run this on your own without having to rewatch the whole video. Today, we're breaking one of the 10 commandments of shooting to help you shoot better. So for 50 years, one sacred rule has been beaten into our heads by every instructor in every gun magazine and on every single firing line. Focus on the front sight. But what have I told you? For every single one of us over the age of 50, that rule is now a lie and BS. Following it is the very thing that's destroying your accuracy. So stick with me for the next few minutes and I'll prove it to you. Now, if you're over 50 and wearing glasses like me, you probably know what I'm talking about. And I can tell you this, there are smarter ways to keep your accuracy sharp as your vision changes. First, I'm going to show you why you're having this trouble. Why are you having trouble hitting the target? There's a little exercise I want you to do with me right now. So make a fist, stick out your thumb straight up, and hold it out at arm's length. Now I want you to focus on your thumbnail. I mean really focus, so you can see every single line on detail. Got it? Good. Now, without moving your eyes from that thumbnail, tell me what's behind your thumb. You really can't, can you? It's just a blur. That's what you're doing at the shooting range every time you pull the trigger. Today we're going to break the rules and fix that. And the good news is you're not crazy. We're just getting older. I'm getting older. You're getting older. We're all getting older. But who's the real bad guy here? Well, it's a guy called presbyopia. And basically it happens to a lot of people over the age of 50. The lenses in your eyes start getting hard. They're less flexible. It makes it harder for the eyes to adjust and focus on objects that are close. It's the fancy medical term for when your eyes decide they're not going to be flexible anymore. So what does this mean for you? It means your eyes don't want to cooperate and they have trouble focusing between the front and the rear sights. Now, focusing on our sights gets more difficult. We have trouble seeing the rear sight, the front sight, and sometimes the target. Now, I want to caveat this. Not everyone has this problem. It's a very common problem for people over 50, and I have it as well. But this is the point. If you have trouble seeing your sights, then you have a problem. This means you may not be able to hit your target, especially if someone's life is on the line. Now, we're going to look at 3 ways to help you overcome this and get you back on target. And the best of all, the first 2 solutions are free. The old advice was to focus 100% on that front sight, but our eyes can't win that battle anymore. So we're going to switch. We're going to use target focus. We're going to focus on the target, but it's more natural than you think. If you pick an object across the room and point your finger at it, I'll wait. What do your eyes look at first? Do they look at the finger or the wall? Realistically, the wall or the object you are looking at. When we stare at a distant object and bring up our hand, our brain naturally aligns our fingers. It's the same concept with handguns. They're just an extension of our hands. Now, I know some of you will say, well, I've spent 30 years training myself to not do that. I forced myself to look at the front sight. And you are absolutely right. You have. You built a very powerful skill, but here's the honest truth. That skill was built on a pair of eyes that could instantly focus on a front sight or a rear sight or a target. It was a skill that relied on your younger eyes performing a bunch of optical gymnastics. We're giving ourselves permission to use a natural ability that our body has had all along because the highly trained method is now being let down by our eyes. So at the range, stare at the center of your target. Burn a hole in it with your eyes. Then bring your firearm up to your line of sight, and the sights will be a little bit blurry, but that's okay. Your brain will naturally center them. Now, this is not for bullseye competitions. You're not going to win accuracy, but for practical self-defense shooting inside about 10, maybe 12 yards, it is a game changer. In life or death situations, you don't have time to use your sights. Just point the gun at the attacker as you would your finger. Now, you might be asking, what about a situation that's really up close and personal? 5, 6 yards, the distance of a living room. You may not have time to find your sights, and that's okay. So here's an even quicker trick. You're going to use the entire gun as one big sight. Bring the firearm up, lock your wrist, and focus on putting the flat back of the slide right on the center of the target. You don't worry about the front sight, rear sight, or notch. You're just superimposing the gun shape of the slide where you want the bullets to go. This technique relies on the body's innate sense of what we call proprioception, your brain's subconscious awareness of where your body parts are in space. Your brain is really good at knowing where your hand is pointing without you having to consciously look at it. If you close your eyes and bring up your arm in any direction, your brain knows where your hands and arm are with your eyes closed. Now, this isn't for marksmanship and you're not going to win awards. This is for a quick stop the threat, get off me situation. It's fast, it's intuitive, completely solves the blurry sight problem because you're not even looking at the sights. The last solution is your smart money solution. If the free fixes aren't cutting it, we can talk about spending a little money wisely, and I mean wisely. Not buying a bunch of tactical junk you don't need. We're talking stuff that actually will help you. And that's what I mean by a smart upgrade. We're not about to bolt a bunch of tacticool junk onto a perfectly good firearm. We're talking simple, effective fixes for people like us, the everyday defender, the everyday protector. You want reliability and simplicity. Here are 3 smart, money-wise options you can try. Fiber optic sights. Now for daytime, these things are basically a cheat sheet. They use ambient light to create a single brilliant dot that's impossible to miss, even against a dark or busy background. For aging eyes that might need more light to see clearly, this high contrast dot will simplify your aiming because you're putting the glowing dot on the target. Now I'm sure we've all heard of tritium night sights. That's the second one. For those things that go bump in the night, these are your best friend. They glow on their own. They use a little tiny sealed vial of tritium gas. There's no batteries, no charging, and no nonsense. When your traditional sights completely disappear in the dark, these provide a clear, illuminated aiming reference, which is absolutely critical for home defense. And the last is XS Big Dots. This is your easy button. With these, you get the best of both worlds. They're sights designed for pure speed. It's basically a big giant golf ball of a front sight with a tritium vial in the middle of it. Completely removes the challenge of fine sight alignment. You just put the big dot on target and pull the trigger. For eyes that can no longer achieve that perfect razor-sharp focus, this gross motor skills solution is often the fastest and most practical choice. Now, I know half of you are screaming at me right now, just get a red dot, and you're not wrong. I have a red dot on my AR. It's the most effective solution for my eyes. It's all about using what works for you and the specific job at hand. Now, my dad's primary solution for his Smith & Wesson equalizer was to add a hollow sight. Now, at his young age of 80, it was the perfect choice for him. We're talking about is mastering the tool you know will work every single time. And a red dot is a great option, but it's not the only option, and that's exactly the kind of thing we talk about here. Try to respect your experience and your intelligence. You don't have to surrender to blurry sights. You can change where you look, or you can change what you're looking at. It's that simple. That's it. Now that you know why your eyes have changed and why the old front sight only rule is crap, now we're going to move from theory to skill. In this next section, you're going to see 3 short drills you can do at home to lock in a new sight picture, and you can clean up your trigger pull. We're going to build the muscle memory you need to be just as effective with your iron sights as you were 20 years ago. But knowing a secret is one thing. Being able to use it when it counts is something else entirely different. That for those of us with eye problems, focus on the front sight is probably a trap that's destroying your accuracy. Now, in that video, we covered the what. Today, we get to the important part and the fun part, the how. You've spent decades building the habit of chasing that front sight, and we can't expect you to undo that in one trip to the range. The goal of these drills is to build new paths for your brain, to make target focus feel natural and instinctive. Now, keep in mind, these are just a few of the ways to adapt. If this doesn't work for you, hey, that's okay too. If you need new sights or a red dot, by all means, use what's best for you. But we're going to start with a dry fire drill you can do at home, and then move on to some other drills and finish with the one thing that can ruin any sight picture, whether it's blurry or not. Stick around. First drill is how we burn that target focus method from the previous video into your muscle memory. It's all about trusting your brain and your eyes. Now, before we begin any dry fire, let's make safety our number one priority. All ammunition has been removed from the room. I have visually inspected my firearm to confirm it is unloaded. Please do the same. Pick a safe spot in your home with a safe backstop. Choose a small object across the room. A light switch is perfect. I have one right over there. Oh, you could also use a large post-it note or a colored index card. Now, just like we talked about in the previous video, stare at it. Burn a hole into that object. And from the low ready, bring your firearm up, and the gun will be a blurry silhouette. Your job is to place that blurry shape over the target and practice a smooth trigger pull. Don't let your eyes leave the target or look at the sights. Now you might be asking, why does this work? Well, doing this for 5 to 10 minutes a day retrains your brain to accept this as your new sight picture. It proves to you that you can be consistently align the gun on the target without needing razor sharp focus front sight. Now the second drill is what we call the flashlight index drill, FID. A lot of defensive situations happen in low light or at night, and this is where our eyes struggle the most. This drill uses a flashlight to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And as always, make sure your guns are unloaded and safe. In a safe, dim, or dark room, hold your flashlight indexed with your pistol. Your first move is to paint the target with the bright hot spot of the light. Your eyes will naturally follow to that bright spot. Then you just simply bring your gun into that illuminated circle, and the light has already found its target for you. Your gun and sights just have to follow. Now this works because it's a great follow-up to the first exercise where we focus on the target. It is a huge confidence builder as it uses the light of the flashlight as your primary aiming tool and the sights as a secondary confirmation. It's faster and more intuitive for aging eyes in low light conditions, and it's a core part of the family defense readiness. This last drill is critical. If a bad trigger pull or squeeze pulls you off the target at the last second, it doesn't matter how good your aim is. Now, I don't want to get into the trigger, press, pull, squeeze debate. Use whatever terminology works for you. Use whatever works for you. I'm going to use trigger pull for this video. Our hand strength can change over the years, and it's easy to start squeezing the whole hand instead of just the trigger finger. And this drill helps to fix that. With an unloaded firearm, get your grip and aim at your safe target. Now, carefully place a coin on top of your front sight, or as close as you can get. The goal is to pull the trigger straight back to the rear without that coin falling off. Now, if you haven't done this before, it's a lot harder than it sounds. You can also have a spouse or loved one place the coin on top of your barrel or as close to the front sight as possible. And you can also use various washers as well. You can start with a quarter, work your way down to a nickel or a dime. Now, this builds neurological independence between your trigger finger and the rest of your gripping hand. It trains your brain to send a signal to that one finger. Your grip remains firm and steady without disturbing your sight picture. Now here's a bonus tip. If you find yourself struggling to keep the gun steady during the coin drill, might be a sign that your supporting grip muscles are wearing out. You can use a simple grip strengthener just a few minutes a day to build that endurance and strength. Now, I also want to point out, if you have problems like arthritis, hand injuries, etc., this may not work, so please be careful, and if you need to, consult your doctor. The target focus drill builds the new habit, the flashlight drill prepares you for the dark, and the trigger drill just helps keep you honest. Your experience is your greatest asset, and these are just a few of the tools for your toolbox. It's not about decline, it's about adapting so you can always be ready to protect your family. You've got the new sight picture and the drills. The last piece of this masterclass is your optics. Now, if red dots look like comets, starburst, or just a smeared mess, this part is for you. I'll show you how to tell if the problem is your eye or the optic, and how to tune a dot for astigmatism, and what to use instead if red dots just aren't working. Now, I do apologize in advance. I got a lot of feedback on this video. In the next video, I mispronounced reticle, so I do apologize for that, but now let's look at the red dots and their alternatives. Today, we're talking about the one thing most gun reviews and articles never mention, astigmatism. I'm going to show you what it is, how to manage it, how to find the right optic for your eyes so you can stop wasting money and start shooting with confidence again. So what is astigmatism? In the simplest terms, it's a very common condition where the lens of the eye is not perfectly round. Think of a normal eye lens being shaped a little like a basketball. The eye with astigmatism is shaped a little more like an egg. It's oval. Now, this irregular shape changes how your eye focuses light, and for about a third of us adults, it can wreak havoc on the projected dot of a red dot sight or reflex sight. How do you know if the problem is your eye or the optic? Well, there's a simple test you can do right now if you grab your smartphone or camera. You turn on your red dot, take a picture of the dot through the optic with your phone's camera, and look at the picture. If the dot in the photograph is crisp and perfect, but the sight itself is blurry when you look at it, the issue is realistically your eyes. Now, you can also have a family member or loved one help you with this if you're having trouble with the camera or you just don't trust your eyes. If you look at the photo and the dot is blurry, then the problem is probably the optic. So, you've done the test and you confirmed it's your eyes. Don't rush out to sell or return your red dot yet. There are just a couple things you can try right now. First, you can turn down the brightness. Many shooters run their dots way too bright, which makes the blooming or starburst effect much worse. Lower the brightness to your dimmest level you can still see. You want the optic dim but still be able to see it against a target. Now, this alone can clean up the dot significantly. Second, remember your fundamentals. You can focus on the target, not the dot. Look through the dot. Let your focus rest on what you intend to hit, your target. Your brain is incredibly good at superimposing that blurry shape onto the target and finding its center. And this is the proper way to use a red dot. It's even more critical for your astigmatism. And finally, if you have iron sights on your pistol, you can try looking at the dot through your rear sights. For many people, looking through that small aperture can help focus the eye and the light a little differently. It might make the dot appear much sharper and rounder. You're not focusing on the rear sight, but you're using it as a guide. Now, if those techniques help but don't fully solve the problem, it might be time to consider some different hardware, but this is where you need to be smart. You'll hear a lot of people say, oh, just get a green dot. And while it's true our eyes are more sensitive to green light, some people find it crisper. It's not a universal fix. It can be just as blurry as a red dot. The only way to really know for sure is to test them for yourself in person at a local gun store. A better approach is to look at optics that use different technology. We're talking about other types of optics you can try and use to work with your astigmatism. The gold standard for shooters with astigmatism is an optic with an etched reticle. This is a prism sight. Unlike a red dot, which projects a dot of light onto a lens, the prism sight has the reticle physically etched into the glass inside. Because it's a solid image and not projected light, your astigmatism really can't distort it. And as a bonus, a lot of prism sights have an adjustable diopter. It's like a little focus ring. You can fine-tune the reticle to your specific eye. And they're without a doubt a great solution for many shooters with astigmatism. Now, they are a great option for rifles, AR-15, carbines, etc. But what about pistols? I actually had trouble finding prism sights for pistols, and if you're into pistols, I think the See-All open sight is your best bet. The See-All is a clever mechanical sight. It uses a lens to magnify a fiber optic reticle, giving you a single aiming point like a red dot, but without any of the electronics. The big advantage here is its simplicity and durability. No batteries to die, no electronics to fail, and for many shooters with astigmatism, the reticle appears clear and sharp when red dots look like a blurry mess. Now, it's not a perfect solution. The biggest trade-off is that the housing can obscure the lower portion of the target. And while it's great in daylight, there are versions with non-tritium that can be difficult to see in low light. But it's a very interesting tool, especially at closer ranges if you want an absolutely battery-free reliability. Now, another great choice is a holo or holographic sight. It's another great option for astigmatism. It uses a laser to project the reticle that appears to float downrange on the target itself. This technology helps your eye see the reticle more clearly, making it much less likely to cause that blurry starburst effect you get from a standard red dot. This leads to faster target acquisition and a wide field of view for better awareness of what's around your target, and that's always good. They're known for being incredibly tough. One reticle can often stay visible and functional even if the glass gets cracked or damaged. So I want to ask all of you, if you've got astigmatism, what's worked best for you? A specific optic, a technique, or setup? Drop it in the comments. Someone else might need exactly what you have figured out. So if your red dot is blurry, don't panic. First, confirm it's your eye or the red dot with the phone test, the camera test. Then try the simple fixes. Lower the brightness and focus on the target. If you decide you need to upgrade, your smartest move is to look at optics with etched reticles, like a prism sight. You can also look at holographic sights or something completely different, like the See-All sight. These options should give you a crisp aiming point that works with your eyes and not against them. And be sure to try them out if you can at your local gun store before you spend your hard-earned money. Now, this is about being smarter and more informed protector. It's about finding the right tool for the job and, more importantly, the right tool for you. So share your experiences in the comments below. Your knowledge could save somebody else a lot of time and frustration. So you've just finished a full masterclass on shooting with aging eyes. You saw how your vision changed, how to change your sight picture, and the drills that build real skill, and how to pick sights and optics that work with presbyopia and astigmatism instead of fighting them. Now I'd like you to do 3 things. First, download the free PDF in the description. It has all the drills in a simple checklist, so you can do this at home without having to rewatch the whole thing. Next, don't leave this as theory. Run at least one of these drills a week. And lastly, tell me in the comments what's changed first for you. Did your groups change, your confidence, or your gear choices? Now, if this did help you, hit like so I know to do more full trainings like this. And please subscribe if you want straight talk on protecting your loved ones as you get older. In the meantime, stay safe, train smart, and I'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving.